CEO interview. Now, I'm honoured and really humbled today to have a gentleman on air. His name is James Matthewson, and he's the CEO of a company called Superlux. Now, James works with very high net worth individuals, ultra high net worth, and high net worth individuals. He's got a company, which is an incredible company, like many of us as entrepreneurs during the challenges of COVID have had to make adjustments. Now, as a consultant that works with ultra high net worth individuals, James's company, which he's going to tell you about in a second, is a successful company that operates in a number of fields. They've recently added a brand new field to the business purely due to demand. So first of all, welcome James Matthewson to the show. Welcome to Best Business Growth TV. Now, listen, James, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're obviously based in Jersey in the Channel Islands. And just before you introduce yourself, let me just set the scene, if I may. I know James through a private London group. And I remember one day James posted something in the private London group that he was brokering. And it was a Rolex stroke Hermes chess set.
That's right.
And this chess set, was it right? Rolex Hermes, was that right?
Rolex and Hermes collaboration. That's right.
And it was a nice, beautiful, chess set. Now, this chess set was how much, James? It was being brokered for?
It's about 675,000 euros, Bradley.
Right, so 675,000 euros. But this was the sort of thing that one of your clients would buy and just stick on their yacht, right?
It would look beautiful in one of Celia Sawyer's boutique hotels or super yacht interior design jobs for sure.
Fantastic. Now, look, tell us a bit about Superlux, please. We're privileged to have you. Yeah. What's the core of the business, Superlux, and what is it you do? I know we're going to go on to talk about Superlux Medicare, but explain, please, about Superlux and what it is you do.
Yeah. Thank you, Bradley. Well, Superlux is really the product of about 20 years of work in the luxury brand industry. So for a long time now, I've been working with watch and jewelry maisons globally, helping to educate them about new ultra high net worth and high net worth consumer behavior and purchasing behavior and how they would like to research and buy luxury brands. That led me recently to bring my business to Jersey at the invitation of the state of Jersey. So we relocated my family and my business here just over a year ago. Jersey is I suppose best known as a tax haven, but really it's known as an offshore jurisdiction where a lot of very wealthy individuals live, ranging from those with a few £1 million in the bank to those who are billionaires. Some very famous names live here, and it seemed like a good place to base my business. So I'm an ambassador for Digital Jersey and an ambassador for Jersey, the island. But I base my business here called Superlux in order to bring some of my expertise in the luxury industry to the island and also promote the island to the luxury industry worldwide. We've been having a lot of fun with it. We work with brands that do anything from hypercars and supercars to private aviation to the super yacht community, and of course the watch and high jewelry industry, which is where I cut my teeth in luxury. So that's where we've been focusing, and that's been going very, very well for us, I'm pleased to say. But we have taken a bit of a pivot in most recent days to take not take advantage, but to keep the business operating in a period when some of the services we would provide through Superlux we have not been able to provide, because as you can imagine with luxury goods, it's a very tangible product business. It's people want to see product, they want to feel product and experience product. And it's very difficult to do a hypercar drive through Zoom or through Facebook Live or through YouTube. These are things that are very physical and get people's emotions and senses going when they're there and feeling it. So we took a pivot in the earlier part of this year into a different business area with the view that we would take some of the foundations of what we are known for in luxury, which is integrity and honesty and professionalism and service and quality, and apply those to the area of PPE. So that's what we're currently doing, and that's been keeping me very, very busy ever since. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it feels like. I find myself at the epicenter of two of the hottest products on the market globally right now. I've never known a point in time when two products have been the most sought after globally by everyone at the same time. So that's where I find myself. I can't hear you, Bradley.
Yeah, I just muted that, James, because as professional broadcaster as I am on a spare laptop, I've just realised the charger's not in and the battery's saying like it's going to run out. So I just said to my executive assistant, can you just get under the desk there for me, please, and plug in the laptop? So look, you know, you've made some major change. Thank you, Jackie, saviour. She's under there crawling along. You've made some changes, and obviously I followed you for a while. We're connected with each other in the private London group.
Yes.
And also what we have done as well is we have and also look, this is one of those broadcasts where look to my back screen TV. You see that the engineers just go right. So Jackie's laughing there. The battery charger in the TV's coming off the wall brackets there from our engineer. Well, we connected together, and we've shared network connectivity. In fact, it was you that introduced Alfie and me to our Mayfair Tailors and Gentlemen's Club, and now we network and work together. But you've now made a transition and adjustment to the market, and you're specialising in PPE consultancy, and you're brokering some very high-end deals. Now, some people are going to be watching. James, we might end up putting this edition of Best Business Growth TV on candid camera or outtakes TV, right? Forgive me, audience. You know, I'm normally the consummate professional, but now I'm looking at my TV thing that's come off the wall brackets behind me. Jackie's absolutely laughing, but we're only human, right? Jack's laughing away. Look, good sense of humour. But, you know, when we went through this lockdown, we were talking, communicating together. And in many of our groups and connections that we're sharing, there was so many Jackie's creaking up here. There were so many discussions and global governments that requiring very large scale numbers of PPE and equipment. And you obviously got involved with that. So tell us a bit about the specialist PPE consultancy and procurement, because it is quite high level, it is large numbers, and it is due to connectivity. And I don't want people watching to think, well, you know, if I'm a startup businessman or a businessman that perhaps isn't working in the high, ultra high net worth marketplace, not to think that it isn't possible. No. Anything is possible. But share with us, please, about your products, your services. Share with us about some of the deals you've been brokering.
Yeah. So we found ourselves at the invitation of people we knew globally, asking us very organically, where can I buy this, James? Can you help me find a quantity of 3M masks, or can you help me find some hand sanitizer? Or James, can you help me find some blue nitrile gloves that they wear in the hospitals and in the GP surgeries in the healthcare community? And me being me, I just reached out to people that I knew, and very quickly I started to connect A to B, and very quickly realized that actually there was a huge need, most importantly, a huge need to get product to people who needed it, primarily frontline workers and people who were very much looking after anyone from the elderly to patients to dentists and GP surgeries, and they were struggling. So we started to help, but what we realized very quickly was that the PPE world, which has been around for a long time, and I knew nothing really about it. I was in low volume products that were very high value. And now I found myself at the epicenter of very high volume products that are very low value. So I knew nothing really about it. And very quickly, it became clear that every every man and his dog, every cowboy and every fraudster and every scammer was coming into this market with a vision of a lottery ticket and becoming overnight billionaires. And it created a huge amount of tension in the industry between people who wanted to buy a product and people who wanted to sell a product.
Yeah.
And it became very, very difficult for people to transact. So we set about to change the narrative of that and to say to the market, look, we will treat this like it's an expensive diamond ring or it's a 10,000 euro watch. We will apply the same principles to business for a mask that's a few dollars as we would apply to a watch that's $10,000, because this is really important that we get these transactions done and we get them done correctly. And that seemed to resonate with people. People started to come to us and say, well, James, we need a large volume of these. Can you help us find the product? And we went from talking relatively modest numbers to starting to talk about contract values in the billions, Bradley.
Yeah.
It was a sudden revelation to me that globally there was just this enormous demand for product, but there was this difficulty in finding it. And when you did find it, there was an even bigger difficulty of actually being able to secure it and purchase it and get it to the people that needed it. So we set out our stall very simply to say, we will be for many companies, and we work for defense companies, we work for governments, we work for hedge funds, we work for hospital groups, we work for private ultra high net worth individuals, we work for family offices. We work for people who want a professional service when it comes to their procurement of PPE product, particularly masks and gloves, which it is anarchy out there. It reminds me of when the internet first grew. I don't remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, the internet was like the Wild West. PPE at the moment is a little bit like that. And what we've tried to do is we've tried to cut through that noise. We've tried to cut through the challenges that buyers and sellers are having. We've tried to change the narrative of the conversations from dishonesty and distrust to honesty and integrity. And we seem to be doing quite a good job by all accounts. Our customers are very happy with the work we're doing, and the product is making its way to the people that need it, which is ultimately the benchmark or the metric of success that I would apply. So, it's been an interesting 7 or 8 months, and we continue. So I am professor as well at the International University of Monaco, and I continue to teach a luxury master's program for students who are on their learning journey for the luxury industry. I continue to work for one of the business schools in Geneva and one of the university groups in London teaching luxury masters. And I continue to work with my clients like Pininfarina and Rolls-Royce. But I'm immersed in PPE world as well, constantly. I've just undertaken a non-exec directorship as well with a Jersey-based company to help them grow and scale for 2021, their tech business. So it's diverse, but it's a really interesting time. And I feel, although there are many challenges that people are suffering with COVID, it's a really interesting time for business right now, and it's disruptive, but it's also reshaping the way we think as entrepreneurs and as business people. And my world has changed dramatically in 9 months.
Yeah, 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us right now, this is the incredible James Matthewson, CEO of Superlux, based in Jersey, working with high net worth individuals as a luxury broker, and also now with his brand new engagement and involvement and with networking. Ladies and gents, if you're watching, whether you're networking locally in your restaurant with friends and family and business people, or you're networking at a high net worth individual basis, it's the same thing. It's just a conversation. And from a conversation, you start to get a thing that's called know, like, and trust. And if you can do a job well and deliver something and bring it in, eventually what will happen is that trust goes so far as you start getting more and more requests to fulfill a service. And that's what's happened to James. He upholds the levels of professionalism. He's delivered some incredible services that I've seen. But tell me a little bit more about Medicare, because I saw some potential contracts coming across within our groups. 18 million masks, 40 million PPE suits. Now the numbers were astronomical. And if you're watching the entrepreneur business owner right now, an experienced business owner, you'll know this already, so forgive me. But if you're starting out in business, because we must make sure our entrepreneurs that's coming through, and there's four sort of areas of business in terms of volumes and margin. You've got low volume, low margin, low volume, high margin, and then you have high volume, low margin, and high volume, high margin. And businesses are made up normally of a mixture of these products and services, but sometimes you can find yourself in, as James said, a market where it's ultra high volume but very low margin, so you need the volume. So how does it feel when you pull off an incredible deal, and you're brokering and bringing home 20, 30, 40 million units of a product? It's a great feeling, isn't it? Because you've connected, you've brokered, and you've got something that's shipped.
Yeah, Bradley, I think there's two things I would add. I mean, one about talking about networks is whichever line of work and industry you're in, networks are really, really important, and look for relationships where you can add value to those networks. And that's all I sought to do, was look at where I could make a contribution, make something valuable that people would identify with me. And secondly, make no mistake, jumping into PPE for me was organic. It happened very naturally. It didn't happen by design or by strategy or plan. It was a very organic thing that happened over a period of weeks. But it's incredibly hard work, and it's not a golden ticket. I think a lot of people came into the business thinking that it was a license to print money, and they would make millions overnight and they could retire off the back of it, and it just simply isn't like that. We work very, very hard to get the product to the people that need it, and the margins are low, but you're right, the volumes are very, very high, and typical orders I'm dealing with are in the tens of millions of units, hundreds of millions of units in some cases, and you can imagine if you're making a cent per unit, that adds up. But these, it's not to be mistaken with, a gold rush. It's a business that is, I think, very important, and will be very important for the next 2 years at least, while we navigate our way out of COVID into, some new normal that we're expecting to be in the future. But
it almost became, it almost became, I was watching and, what you was going through in this transition. Obviously, we're connected, but it also become a commodity, didn't it? It pretty much become a precious cargo commodity that if you knew where the stock was sitting and you had access to the factories, to the warehouses, the people that were sitting on the stock, you was in a fantastic position to say, right, I've got this stock. This is proof of stock, where it is, where it's sitting, ready to be shipped, and whatever it is you're opening an LC or whatever it is you're doing in terms of payment terms, it's knowledge, isn't it? Now, you've had to regain that knowledge and acquire that knowledge and reach out. So what would you say to people that's starting out, looking to, acquire new knowledge and find out new things? What's your view on finding a way?
I've been committed to academia for about 20 years, Bradley. And one of the things I always used to tell my students is that I can teach them anything they want to know about my area of expertise. I can teach them through models and processes and experience, but there is no better way to learn than to go and click on that link that you're not sure what it does, or use that app and explore it and find out what it does. Learn through experience, and that's what I did. I just quite honestly got on the phone and talked to people, and very quickly learned from, in some cases, mistakes, in other cases, successes, what worked and what didn't work. And very quickly, because people trusted me and they understood, and I articulated it in a way they understood, I got quite sophisticated at it quite quickly, but I did it all through experience, trial and error, listening to other people, listening to people who were well above my pay grade in experience and knowledge and success levels. And I've been lucky enough now to meet people from military, senior people from military, senior people from politics, senior people from the world's biggest hedge funds, people who I would probably never have spoken to in my lifetime. I'm now talking to because we connect on a level which is common ground, which is there's a need, and I have the ability potentially to fulfill that need.
And these are door openers. We open doors for each other. There's a leverage within that know, like, and trust in that relationship. You open doors for each other, and that's what that's what you find. I find the same myself. It's a door opener, and the relationship it's very relaxed. It's very relaxed discussion. Of course, business is business, but the connectivity in relationships is very relaxed, and then you're connecting and taking details, giving numbers, connecting and sharing, and just putting people together.
That's right.
We've got you appearing in the launch edition of Best Business Magazine, which is due out on the 15th of November. So we're looking forward to an incredible article. Now, I wanted to just introduce you today to our network and have a brief, but we're going to be back on air with James, a very focused interview that's going to be only 10 minutes. We'll put it on Facebook, but then also it will go to YouTube as well. And then we'll be using that video to embed into Best Business Digital Magazine. So thank you for taking the time today, James. We'll be having you on in the next few days again, but at the later time slot. And we've got your website here, Superlux JE. What's your main focus of business at the moment, and what are you looking in terms of inquiries and or connectivity?
Yeah, thanks, Bradley, for having me. I think without a shadow of a doubt at the moment, if there is anybody listening, watching, or knows anybody out there that is connected to that PPE market that needs help, then please look me up and I'd be delighted to advise or support. But at the same time, if there's anybody that's interested in talking to me about any of my luxury experience, whether that's the events side or the publishing side or the consulting side, I would love to share my knowledge and experience with them on all things luxury brand and ultra high net worth. So I'm an open book. Please do connect to me on LinkedIn. Please do look me up on superlux.je. And if there's anything that interests anybody listening and watching, I'd be delighted to have a conversation.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to catch up and to go on air together, of course. Audience, apologies at the start of the video where the laptop wasn't plugged in, and apologies as we went about 10 minutes into the broadcast and my background TV, which we'd only just adjusted with the building engineers. Listen, I've never ever deleted a broadcast, and I always remind myself that actually no matter what happens, I've had broadcasts where the internet's crashed, where the lights have gone, we couldn't see people, there was sound problems, and I can remember even on one broadcast, you carry on, and you held up a card, never give up. And this is the thing about live broadcasting. But it's been an honor to have you today. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. Ladies and gentlemen, James Matthewson, CEO, Superlux, an ultra high net worth consultant and specialist at the moment, amongst other things, in PPE healthcare as a consultancy. So please do reach out to James. You can get hold of him at superlux.je. And if you want a direct connection to James from me, and you know me, then just give me a call on my mobile and we'll put you directly in touch with James once we've validated the referrals. Okay, but if you know me, give me a call. We'll give you a direct intro. And James, this again, we're going to have actually in about 10 days, we're going to have a very big Zoom online event with every single one of the contributors that's in the magazine, and there's some pretty hot people. We'll all be online together. We'll all be contributing in one big 2-hour broadcast about business entrepreneurship, and all of our business will be listed. So we look forward to having you on that as well, and we look forward to seeing the full and incredible interview in Best Business Magazine on the 15th. James, thanks so much indeed, sir.